Today, we're going to be going over 7 signs that you've taken your diet too far. This is a really important show, whether you're recommitting after trying a diet plan in the past, you're looking to lose weight, you're looking to transform your body, whatever it is that you might be doing. I just want to make sure that you do it in a safe and healthy way. All right, so let's dive right into it. 7 signs you've taken your diet too far. Be aware of this. If you're a practitioner, watch with this for your clients as well. So this is a show that's going to allow you to see as you're moving through a nutrition plan, if you've gone too hypocaloric, that means taking in too few calories per day, or maybe even a little too low on one of your macros, such as usually people go too low in either fat or they go too low in carbohydrates. Typically on a diet, you're keeping your protein high enough because you're using that as part of your body transformation results, whether with exercise, weight training, etc. But maybe not. Again, it could be going too low in protein. So think about going too low in total calories, too low in any one macro, your carbohydrates, your fat, or your protein, or increasing your exercise too much and not increasing your calories along with it. That could take you hypocaloric for the day as well, not keeping up with your dietary needs or your metabolism needs. So all of this is signs that your metabolism is starting to drop or you're becoming too catabolic. And catabolic means that you're not getting in enough of what the nutrients you need for your body. A lot of people say, well, it's just protein. It's not. It's actually, no matter what, you'll use protein to convert to carbohydrates if you need to for glucose for the body and brain. Like that will happen. You don't just use ketones, even if you're in a state of ketosis. But it's also about micronutrients, such as all your vitamins and minerals. And yes, you can get that from some supplementation, but you want to get it from whole food as well. All right, so let's dive right into it. 7 signs you've taken your diet too far. Be aware of this. If you're a practitioner, watch with this for your clients as well. The first one is this: hair thinning. Yes, your hair can thin because of many other issues, many of that hormonal base, but keep in mind that by dropping your calories too low or becoming more catabolic, you can do what? Well, you can actually throw off your estrogen to progesterone. You can increase stress and testosterone, leading to more dihydrotestosterone conversion. Or what can actually happen is you can begin to lower thyroid. All of those can lead to hair loss and thinning of the hair. So really important to be aware of that. If you ever feel that your hormones are off in any way, I can't recommend enough running a lab that you can do right at home called your stress, mood, and metabolism test that will look at your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol throughout the day, your thyroid levels from free T4, free T3, TSH, TPO antibodies, your vitamin D, and much more. So that's a big one. That's a huge one to run. You can find the lab that we use, the stress mood metabolism, at stephencabral.com/labs. You'll be able to find that. That's what we use in our practice. All right. The second one for lowered metabolism or becoming more catabolic is cold hands and feet. So if you find yourself more so than before you went on the diet, your fingers start to get a little bit more pale, less blood flow, or your feet, that can be a sign that you've lowered your metabolism, especially lowered your thyroid. The third one is brain fog. Okay, so if your body is not getting the energy that it needs to meet demands, you will see a diminishment, not just in body, but in brain as well. So your brain will start to just go at a lower and lower level. I'll tell you what, when I was doing my extended water fast, by day 3, I had brain fog, that fuzzy thinking. Basically, I said this, is like for that week, I said, I'm not going to do my extra workouts while I'm water fasting, any of these things. I'm going to do more reading. I'm going to do more kind of overall big thinking, planning, because I'm going to be more in a rested state. Well, none of that happened. There was no focus. There was no concentration. There was nothing extra while I was water fasting. Now, that doesn't happen to everybody, but it certainly happened to me. And yes, I was in full ketosis, nothing like that, but it did not pull me out of it. And I got that depletion as my body was becoming in a lowered metabolic state. Now, I was doing that for research purposes. I was doing it because I do believe in water fasting. I don't think people should start there, and I've talked about that before in a previous show. I can link that up at episode 2889 if you want to go to stephencabral.com/2889. We can link up those shows. You work up to water fasting. You don't start there. I know it's starting to become more popular. Great, but you really want to start with daily intermittent fast, then the one-day reset diet, then something like the EcoLife functional medicine detox, which supports your detox pathways, and then eventually you can work up to a water fast. A much healthier and safer way to do it, to be honest. Okay, so brain fog can be one of those. The fourth one is this, and it's a double, so I added two here. If you start to see a loss in muscle and a loss in strength. Now, two parts to this, it's important. When you are losing weight, you may actually feel like you're losing muscle mass, but it may not be true, meaning like your muscles are 70 to 72% or so water. So if you're depleting your carbohydrates, you might be depleting the actual fluid inside of the muscle cells themselves. That is possible. It really is. So now your muscles look a little flatter. The actual, yes, when you look at it and you were to take your body fat measurement, something like that, it might actually look like muscle loss. Okay, so there's fluid, there's basically tissue of the muscle, and there's sarcoplasm, there's water of the muscle. And so you may not have lost a lot of muscle, but you might have lost what's called volume inside the muscle. A good way to be able to gauge this is, are you also losing strength? So if you look like you're losing muscle size and you're losing strength in terms of your exercises, your weight training, then it's a good sign that you're too catabolic and you are losing muscle. That is why I recommend to people that you really should not go on a diet. You should not go on a hypocaloric diet without at least twice a week strength training. So 30 minutes twice a week is the minimum, and not back-to-back days. Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, anything like that where there's a little space in between. In an ideal world, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That's an ideal world. If not, even they've shown with intermittent fasting, you are going to lose weight from muscle, and that is a lowering of metabolism that it's difficult to get back. It really is. So you want to make sure you don't lose it in the first place. Lots of research on that on my intermittent fasting podcast as well. Okay, number 5 is this. If your sleep starts to get worse, that can be a sign you've taken your diet too far. And that is because if you're lowering calories, your stress levels can go up. If stress goes up, you might have difficulty falling asleep. You might show less deep sleep or REM sleep. Deep sleep is basically can be overexertion of the body during the day, not getting enough physical recovery, and REM can be of the mind. So it's important to look at those factors. You can use an Oura Ring, Whoop Strap, Apple Watch, whatever you like to use to be able to track those metrics. But you want to make sure your sleep's not getting worse when you're dieting. For sure, when I was doing my water fast, my sleep was worse. There's no doubt about it. So interesting, I think, fact there. I also felt like I didn't need to have as much sleep when I was water fasting. So that's more research that I'm doing into that. I don't think that there's, again, I was not putting out as much output. I wouldn't use that as anything more than anecdotal, but I thought that was worth noting. It's like I just didn't feel like I needed to sleep as much because there was no energy going towards digestion, and there was not as much exertion going out during the day. But a big part of that is that I was definitely more stressed. My body was more stressed. I mean, when you fast, your body's stressed. So it's something to take into account. Doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing, but also I only recommend 7, 14, or 21 day functional medicine detoxes. And when you do a water fast, your first one shouldn't be more than 3 to 5 days before trying a longer one. Okay. Number 6 is this. One more thing I wanted to add about sleep in general, or even during the day, is if your resting heart rate starts to be elevated. So let's say, for example, your normal resting heart rate when you're sleeping is a 58. Okay, well, if you're at 65, you know that there's a greater stress in your body, right? If your resting heart rate overnight, your average is 65, not 58, then you know there's a lot more stress in the body too. All right, number 6 is if your mood is affected, different than sleep, right? If you're feeling more anxious, more irritable, more overwhelmed, more stressed, it can be a sign that you've taken your diet too far. Now, again, if this is short term, okay, it's short term, like again, 5 days into a 7-day fast, it may happen, but you know that it's ending in 7 days. If there's no end to what your nutrition plan is that you're following, I think you have to be careful that you may have taken it too far. All right, and then the 7th one is no longer hungry. I can't believe, and I can't even begin to tell you the amount of people online that say, this diet was great, I was no longer hungry. Well, that can be really detrimental. Now, you shouldn't be hungry all day long, but you should be hungry. Being hungry is a sign of strong digestion and a strong metabolism. If you wake up and you're not hungry, and you're not hungry within a couple hours, I worry about your levels of leptin and ghrelin, your body's ability to tap into body fat, your body's blood sugar levels, your thyroid levels, cortisol levels, and much more. So that's why I go back to that stress immunometabolism test, because you want to make sure that you're not dropping into low thyroid, that you do have strong levels of proper hormones and cortisol, that you're not super elevated in cortisol. These things are all extremely important to look at. You can find that lab again at stephencabral.com/labs. Just look for the stress immunometabolism one. That's what we use in our practice. You can always work with a local naturopathic doctor, or you can work with an integrative health practitioner, level 2. All of that works. But what I wanted to share with you today is really signs that you've taken your diet or your diet and exercise too far. It's creating a greater stress in your body, and it may be plummeting and depleting a lot of those fat burning and metabolic based hormones. For all of the previous podcast details and takeaways from today's show, head on over to stephencabral.com/2889. Take care, everybody. Talk with you soon. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.